Today's adventure begins right here at Dale Earnhardt Tribute Plaza in Kannapolis, North Carolina. And all I gotta say is, what an awesome day this is gonna be. Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. And today is gonna be a NASCAR vlog all about the Intimidator, the 7-time Winston Cup champion, Dale Earnhardt. And this is a great place to start it. Kannapolis is his hometown. So kind of the idea or the schedule of the video today, we're going to leave here, make our way over to his homestead where Ralph Earnhardt and Martha lived, where Dale learned about working on race cars in that old garage in the back. We're going to spend a little time. It is a residential area, so I don't want to take a whole lot of time there, but I do think it's important to show the home where he learned his craft, how to work, learned from his father Ralph. I think that's really cool. Once we finish up there, we're going to go to his first full-time Winston Cup Series race team's garage. Obviously the race team's not there no more. I'm talking about Rod Osterlund Racing. We're going to go check that out, and from there we'll move on to DEI, and then from there we're going to go up to Welcome and look at the RCR, and maybe there's a little bonus footage after we get to RCR Racing. Definitely want to stick around. I think I found the address to the original RCR race shop, the one that opened in 1969. Not really sure if Dale ever raced out of that shop itself, but all in all, we're still going to look at it because I think it's some cool history, and that'll be at the end of the video. So if you would like to see the original RCR shop, definitely stick around to the end. Should be a lot of fun. So that being said, let's walk up here, and there's a train back there. Let's go up here and check out this awesome Dale Earnhardt statue, and then we will get our adventure on the way. Let's move on with it. All right, and here is his awesome statue. This statue is just always so cool looking, man. I mean, it really captured what it was like, what he looked like, you know, his likeness and everything. They've done such a good job, and I love how big the statue is, because I think to a lot of people, he was that big. Like, he was such a superstar and an ambassador of NASCAR back in those days. And you know, they've never been anybody quite like him since him, you know. I think certain drivers maybe tried to fill the void, but they just never could do it, man. So here's a little bit of facts for Dale Earnhardt. If you ever look him up on Wikipedia, he was actually born Ralph Dale Earnhardt, April 29, 1954, and he had an untimely death February 18, 2001 in the last lap of the Daytona 500 at age 49. Dale Earnhardt, some of his achievements: he was the Winston Cup Series champion 7 times. So in 1980, 86, 87, 1990, 91, 93, and again in 94, he was the Winston Cup Series champion, which he tied Richard Petty and Jimmy Johnson as 7-time champions. He also won 4 IROC championships, and he won the Daytona 500 and later in his career in 1998. Finally, after many tries, there was so many of those Daytona 500s, he would be leading within like the last 10 laps. He'd have a flat tire, or just something would go wrong. And he's won a little bit of everything. The Southern 500 multiple times, Coca-Cola 600 multiple times. He won the Brickyard in 1995. And a really cool story that I have, my dad was a big Dale Earnhardt fan, right? And he had this Brickyard 400 poster with Dale Sr. like standing next to the finishing pylon. It had the number 3 on top. And I still have that poster to this day. Really awesome, really awesome. That's one of my favorite posters. I always keep it in my building where I work on stuff and things like that. So really cool. All right, all this being said, we got over the stats. We know he's great and everything. So now we're going to move on over here to the old homestead where Ralph Earnhardt's house was, and Martha. So and check out where Dale kind of grew up and where he learned how to work on race cars from his father. All right, friends, real quickly, I have made it over here to the old homestead where Dale Earnhardt worked with his father Ralph, learned about racing, learned how to build a race car too, work on cars. There it is, right here in Kannapolis, North Carolina. A little bit of Earnhardt history. And right there is the house. And right back there is the very storied and historic garage where Ralph and Dale would work on race cars. Ralph Earnhardt was a very, very good race car driver. And Yeah, man, that's really, really cool to say here. It gives me cold chills almost just to see the history that I'm looking at right now. But that is it. That is so wild. But right there is the Ralph Earnhardt house where him and Martha lived, Dale. And that's where it all started. You think about Dale Earnhardt's legacy, the 7 Winston Cup championships, 76 wins. I mean, he won at everything. You know, the Goody Dash, Busch Series, whatever he did, he won in. IROC champion, multiple times. It all started right there in that garage in his home. That is pretty amazing. It's kind of cool to be here and see it, you know, with your own eyes. If you're ever in the area, definitely you can look this up. This is a part of the Dale Trail, I think. So you can look up the Dale Trail and look at the map, and this is one of the stops. So that's one reason I wanted to stop by here today and look at it. All right, friends, I have made it down here into the Charlotte area. We're off of Harris Boulevard and Old Statesville Road, the intersection. We're not too far from there at all. And this here is the old building. This is the old Rod Osterlund Racing building. This is where Dale Sr. started his full-time Cup career. He did race in 1976 in the Coke 600, or that back then they called it the World 600, I think, where he finished like 22nd. But in 1979, this is Dale Earnhardt's first of 76 NASCAR Series wins came out of this building. And he won the Southeastern 500 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Then it was called Bristol International Speedway, piloting the #2 Chevrolet for Rod Osterlund. He took home the Sunoco Rookie of the Year honors, and then followed up in 1980 with his first championship of 7 championships right here out of this very building. So crew chief Jake Elder used to make all the calls for him on the pit box. So that's really cool, man. And Earnhardt won 5 races, including the first of 9 wins at Atlanta Motor Speedway and Bristol Motor Speedway, and nearly led the standings of the series from wire to wire that season. So he didn't win the Daytona 500, but shortly after the Daytona 500, he took the points lead, and he never looked back, and he ran it all the way to the end. So that was a thing that was going to happen throughout his career. He was a very dominant and intimidating driver, and yeah, this is really, really cool. We're going to actually drive around to the front. This is actually the back side of the building, and I just wanted to show you this because I think this is where all the magic happened. I really do believe these doors right here was the bay doors for moving their car and transporting and things like that. So a lot of history right here. I'm just glad it's still around. So much history these days, you know, gets torn down and destroyed, and they build new stuff. So it's kind of cool to see this old place still making it. All right, my friends, I've made my way around to the front side of the building. This right here is Old Statesville Road right here, and this is the front of the building. Kind of cool. Harris Professional Building is what this is called now. And they actually have a cardboard cutout, a very faded cardboard cutout of Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there in the window. All right, so that being said, now we're ready to drive up toward Mooresville, North Carolina, and check out the old DEI stomping ground, the Garage Mahal. I know it's closed, but we're still going to drive up there and at least look at it. I think it's an important piece to put in the video today. So let's head in that direction, then we'll make our way up toward Lexington, North Carolina, up around Welcome. Check out some RCR stuff. All right, we have made it up here using Highway 3 here in Iredell County, and right here is the old Garage Mahal, known to many as DEI, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. And as you can see, the gate is closed today. Normally, if you come down through here Monday through Friday, for whatever reason, the gate is open and you can go in and park and kind of walk over there and look in the windows, and you can see Dale Earnhardt's car sitting in there. But they still have the sign up. It says Dale Earnhardt on it right there, kind of showing you where to go. Public showroom and retail store, which unfortunately has not been open since 2020. And that's kind of sad. We're going to walk up here and see if I can zoom in and show you the race car. But fun fact, is right across the street here at DEI. There's a homestead over there. Guess who used to live there? Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's where he was living when he was racing here at DEI. Running in the Bud car right over there. That house right there is the property where Dale Jr. was living. And you can see a roof off to the right. That was his garage. And it was a big garage too. It was very tall. I don't know what kind of vehicles you used to cram in there, but those doors to that garage was very large. All right, so let's walk up here and see if we can see the old number 3, the old black number 3. I'm gonna walk up here to the fence, and there is the front. That was the front entrance where you could walk in and look at the showroom and the store. And right there you can see all the Dale Earnhardt photos on the wall behind his number 3 Goodwrench car. And I wish this place would reopen again. I think a lot of his fans would really enjoy coming here when they're in town for the Charlotte race, and coming by and buying some merch and look at some stuff. Look at the history. But man, I tell you, sometime do you ever wonder what it would have been like if his accident didn't happen? What would NASCAR look like today? Would it look the same? I think it would be wildly different. He had such a great mind for racing and how the car should be set up and rules and regulations. He was like always in Bill France Jr.'s ear. You know, they would go to him asking him questions about stuff, and I just think it would be a different looking sport than it is today. I know NASCAR has struggled, you know, over the years. They've lost a lot of really popular drivers, and the rules have changed a lot and evolved over the years. Safety's all good, but I think sometimes they're just a little too regulated, in my opinion. I think it takes some of that ingenuity out of it, the engineering side. You know, people being creative. You know, maybe gray areas of the rule book that they can do. All that stuff's been kind of deleted now. All the cars kind of look the same. And I just wonder if Dale Sr., if he was still around today, would it still look like it does now? If you think it would be different or the same, put in the comment section down below. Love to hear what you guys think. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. And speaking of Dale Earnhardt Jr. just living right across the street here, back when he raced here with his dad, he's been long moved from here. He actually lives in another spot, he's got a lot of acreage now over off of Schimel Road in Iredell County, just north of Mooresville. I think it would be really fascinating to see what his career would look like. You know, I think that would be really interesting to see how his career, if it would look any different, if his dad would still be here, like in his ear, you know, teaching him and stuff, especially once his dad gets out of the car and retired, and he would be like full-time here, you know, working at DEI and working with the engineers and all the people that they had hired here. A lot of good people, Tony Jr., the Uries, Tony Gibson, all those guys, man. It's just like, the sky would have been the limit. I bet you money, if Dale Earnhardt Sr. would still been there, I bet he would end up with a couple championships. I believe that. I really do. I mean, if you go back and you look at the cars that Dale Jr. was driving right after his father passed away, those cars had already been built and was ready to go. He won a lot of races here at DEI. I think he won more here in that short period of time from 1999 to, or really 2000 was his rookie season, up until he went to Hendrick, and what was that, maybe 08? Look at the wins he had here and the success, and then when he went to Hendrick, he was still in the mix, but I don't think he won quite as many races, and it was a longer period of time. So that's just my 2 cents. It's fun to think like that every once in a while. It just makes me smile to think like, what if? I love thinking what if, you know. That's always really exciting. So this is it. This is old DEI. Also, if you go on Google Maps or Google Earth or whatever, and you want to see Dale Earnhardt's house where he lived, he actually lived just right behind DEI, like right back this tree line right here. If you look, like right behind there, you will see Dale's house. You will see a pond back there, the farm's back there, and also his grave is where he's buried is back there. So obviously we can't go back there. I don't really think I'd want to go back there anyway, but that is where it's located if you're ever interested and you mess around on Google Maps or whatnot. you can see his old farm, and where I guess Teresa still lives to this day. So all right, that wraps it up for DEI. My little thoughts about what if that tragic day would never happen, how it would have unfolded. Now we're going to go up to Welcome, North Carolina, and take a gander at RCR Racing, where he won most of his championships, all of his wins, most of his success came from right there in RCR Racing. We're going to check that out. And remember, we got a little bonus footage at the end of this video that has to do with RCR Racing. I'm going to show you also. So we got a little driving to do, but let's head on up that way, and then we'll wrap this video up. All right, my friends, I have made it up here to Welcome, North Carolina. We are at the old RCR race shop, which is now a museum. And I have been here in the past and did a video. I did a whole walkthrough, and you know, for this whole entire facility. If you're a fan of racing, and especially Dale Earnhardt, and there's other cars in there, not just Dale Earnhardt, Kevin Harvick. They got some Ricky Rudd stuff in there. Obviously have a Richard Childress car in there back when he raced, and his grandson's cars are in there. A lot of cool trophy room cars in there that was raced. And something I really enjoyed about visiting this museum is the cars were not washed. It's like they took them off the racetrack, got the rubber and stuff, and they just left it. You know, that's perfect. Don't clean it up, man. Leave it the way it is. The champagne, everything on it, really cool. I'll put a link down in the description below if you would like to see my my review or walkthrough of the Richard Childress Museum here in Welcome, North Carolina. But this was the race shop where a lot of Dale Earnhardt cars was turned out. Right here, this is it. And I think that is just so cool that they've done that. If we walk down here to the end, they have a Richard Childress car, because you know the number 3 belonged to him. It wasn't Earnhardt's number. And right there is the Richard Childress race car. Right there it is. Look at that old school thing. But this place has a ton of race cars in it. If you're into that sort of thing, this is I'll almost recommend this more than NASCAR Hall of Fame. I had a great time here at the RCR Museum. Really, really cool. All right, so Dale ran 2 seasons with Bud Moore Racing. I would have loved to show you the old Bud Moore shop, because it is still around. It's just abandoned now. There's nothing going on. And it was called Bud Moore Engineering. You can go find it. It's sit down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. But with time constraints today, that's like a over 2 hour drive for me. And I just couldn't do it. So, but I do want to talk about Bud Moore a little bit, because he was the bridge between him coming to RCR for a very short stint and Richard Childress. I watched old interviews of him, and he was like, he told Dale, like, you know, you're too talented, you're too good to race these cars. You need to go somewhere else and then come back later. And that's exactly what Dale did. He ended up leaving. He went to Bud Moore Racing, continued to be fairly successful there, won some races. And then Dale and Ricky Rudd, I found out through the Dale Earnhardt Jr. podcast, Dale kind of snookered Ricky a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. But they was at odds at each other for a lot of years, because Dale and Ricky, I guess, would go fishing together. They were buddies off the track and raced hard on the track, you know. But Ricky was sitting there telling Dale, while Dale was at Bud Moore Racing, like, oh man, Richard's got some good stuff lined up. He's got good people. You know, he's got this Kirk Schemberdine guy, man, and they're smart, and they're making these cars so good, and they run so good, and man, the future's bright and all this stuff. And then Dale's sitting there listening to him. They're probably fishing together, and he's like, really? Huh. Well, me and Richard are really good friends. You know, we get along really famously. So, and he said he did tell me to come back one of these days when he gets things right. So he ended up talking to Richard, and he ends up coming back racing, and they boot Ricky Rudd out, and Ricky Rudd had to go find another ride. But you know, what can you say, man? I mean, it was Dale Earnhardt. His talent level, it went perfectly with Richard Childress and his will to win, and the people he had surrounded him to build this shop right here behind us. And this is an awesome race shop. I love how they left everything very similar to what it looked like back in the day. They even got Richard Childress' office in there, and they left it. It looks the way it did back in the day, you know, with a with the old computer tube screen TV. There ain't no flat screens or nothing in there, and the big furniture and everything like they had in the 80s and the early 90s, and really cool place. So that will pretty much do it for this area right here. Richard Childress, Dale Earnhardt won a lot of races out of this shop, and it's really cool to come here and take a tour of the museum if you would like to. I think it's very much worth it. It's like 10 bucks. You know, it was 10 bucks like a year ago or something, but now it might be 11, I don't know. But it's very cheap to walk through, and there's a lot of cool stuff to look at. His new shop is this road right here. You just go down, I'll tell you what, I'll just take you down there and show you the new shop, and then from there we're going to go check out my bonus footage thing we're going to go look for today is the original RCR location. The little, I think it was like a little, maybe a 4,000 square foot building, you know, and that's all it was. And that's where in 1969 RCR Racing started, and I think that's really cool to show, and that's what I'm going to do next. So let's go look at the new shop. We're just going to drive by real quick. I don't even think I'm going to stop. We'll just cruise by and just show it, and then we're going to move on to the original RCR Racing where it all started. So let's get headed in that direction. All right here is the Racing Museum, RCR Racing Museum. That's the back side of it. That's where all their cars would be, you know, loaded onto a hauler and moved on. And then you have, this is the new RCR, is right here. So it's just right around the corner from it, actually. So there you go. There's RCR Racing today here in Welcome, North Carolina. All right, now we are ready to move on to the original shop. It's going to be a lot different in this one, I'm afraid. It's going to be a whole lot different than this big place. This place here is huge, but really cool. You can see the number 2 hauler right there, as they're getting ready to go to Daytona, I'm sure, in the next few days. All right, my friends, I have made it to the place. This is it, the original Richard Childress Racing. That is pretty freaking cool. This little 4,000 square foot building used to be home to Richard Childress. This is where it all started. Kind of walking over here to the side to see if you can kind of see anything. Got like some cinder blocks and stuff going on there, but it's very grown up back here in the back of the old RCR, but that's kind of what it looks like. It's just so awesome, the NASCAR history that is here. And right now it's some kind of like a motorcycle repair shop or custom shop, something like that. And I just spoke to the owner, and he's actually going to give us a little tour and walk inside and check it out. All right, so this is the inside of the building.
Yeah, we got custom bikes up here. That doorway right there, when we did our remodel, was a bookcase to Childress. That was his office right over there.
Oh, cool.
Right here was a hallway. Front entrance used to be
these doors right here.
If you look at an old picture, you'll see it.
Yeah.
The old picture I got is the doorway there. The hauler was sitting out there.
Okay.
This was a hallway. That's always been a bathroom. Granted, we made it new in here when we come in 2010.
Right.
But this was a hallway. There was another little office. Mainly in the middle here was like just a big old break room. And his office was right in there somewhere.
Right where the
that
checkered.
Was like an old school.
Was it always checkered when you got here? Like,
no, we did all this.
Okay.
He had old school linoleum, old school brown paneling, like it was, 1980s.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was a bookcase, and I recognized that was a doorway, and I was like, hey, we made a doorway out of it. Through there to the far left corner was where they did some dynoing, and they also had that shop next door was the part of the shop too. They grew.
Okay.
When they outgrew the 2 buildings, that's when they went that way.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
There was a wall always right here, but like I said, we did all the new stuff here. As you can see, we still do some Bowman Gray type racing.
Oh man, this is cool. Check out the seats and stuff.
I don't have it in my phone. I just got a new phone, but there's an image out there. A gentleman was standing right over there. The Wrangler car was right here in the backdrop.
Yeah.
This is where they built them right here, same spot.
And this here is the same plate?
We put this in here.
Okay. Because I noticed over at RCR Racing, when you go through their museum, they still have the plates where they set the cars up and everything where they were level.
Yeah. But there's an image floating around somewhere. I think I got it on my Facebook. But
That's cool. You can got your little go-kart back
that
there.
next wall there, the open up area.
Yeah.
Used to be a half wall right there, and they had a big old Wrangler sign on it, whatever. But yeah, we still do some. You know, we got some modifieds, some fendered cars, which looks like NASCAR. You know.
Yeah.
There's a beam in the back that's actually got Dale's signature on it. We think it's legit. We ain't real sure.
Really?
Yeah. And in my storage area out here that the guys left is actually some of the wooden templates they use for the templates of the cars. Made out
Oh
of
my
wood.
God, that's cool, man.
There were some tires here that said Daytona on it,
Yeah.
but the guy we bought the building from, he come and got those. He wouldn't let me keep them.
Right.
Old forklift they used to use, still got Winston Cup stickers on it. Got a newer Dale sticker on it. But
And so,
I just got parked out here.
so this was the actual one they would use, you
Yeah,
think?
they probably got a motor off the back of a truck or anything heavy, you know.
Man, that is wild.
Yeah, that's like I said, it was left here. That's like a 1950 something forklift.
God, that's such cool. This history is still here after all these years.
Yep.
That is awesome.
And for us to be in racing, it's kind of cool, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You got a cool looking shop there, man. That's pretty awesome.
We didn't do no outside stuff as far as doors. Same
Yeah.
original doors this way. We just changed the front entrance.
Right.
For motorcycle stuff.
Yep. All right, my friends, what a great surprise. That will pretty much conclude our video today. I didn't expect to come here and get a full tour of the old RCR building. Really awesome. It's so cool also that the owner was like, he's still building race cars in there and still, you know, working on motorcycles. It's still a cool garage. So but I just want to thank him so much for giving that tour through the race shopping, where we could kind of take in some of that Dale Earnhardt and RCR history that happened right here at this place. So all that being said, I'm all done. Thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, please think about subscribing. You never know where I'm going to go, what I'm going to show. So all that being said, if you like today's content, hey, give it a thumbs up. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe out there, and I hope to see you again next time.